In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial on how to cut this stylish off-shoulder corset dress with side gathers. So if this is something you like, kindly hit on the subscribe button. So let's start. For this particular dress, if you notice, there's no dart on the body. So we are drafting this as a dartless pattern. The first measurement you need is your shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waist, 7 inches to get your hip line, or 8 inches if you're on the much taller side, and then your full gown length. Now, after I'm done marking that, I'll move over to the upper part of my pattern and I'll mark my shoulder divided by 2. From that point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. And from that 1 inch, I'm going to mark my basic neckline before connecting. Although I'm not going to be using this neckline, but I'm just going to go ahead to connect. So I'll go ahead to connect at this point to get a shoulder slant. The next step is to find your chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I'll place my ruler and I'll draw out a straight line. Now, after marking this, I'm going to go ahead to place my tape and I'll still mark back my shoulder divided by 2. Now, I'm going to place my ruler and I'll draw a straight line at this point. The next step is to divide what I have here into 2. Get the midpoint of my armhole and I'll come out by ½ inch. The chest line, I will mark my round bust measurement divided by 4. From that point, I'll place my curved rule. From the midpoint, extend to the upper part, and from the midpoint, I'll extend this all the way to the chest line. After I'm done marking this, I'll start inserting my body measurement. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, add my sewing allowance. Here, I'll mark my under bust circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. Measure round my waistline, divide it by 4 and add my sewing allowance. So you can use any sewing allowance of your choice. Here, I'll also mark my hip circumference and add my sewing allowance. But for this dress, I don't think you need much sewing allowance. So whatever I have on the hip, I'm going to extend it all the way down. That is, connect from the hip straight down to your pattern. So I'll just go ahead and connect from the bust to the under bust, and from the under bust to the waist, and from the waist to the hip point. So just like I said, I'm going to place my ruler and I will connect this following what I have exactly on the hip line. Now, I'll come down by ½ inch from my chest line, go in by ½ inch. But if you don't want to use this ½ inch, you can use 0.75 at the center, because what we have at the center of this dress is slightly open. Now, I'll mark my nipple to nipple line. I'm just using that as a guide. Now, for this pattern, you need an already made cup. So this is more like an urgent tutorial that I'm doing. I don't have a bra cup at home, but I have a corset cup that I am already making. What I'll do is I will use this as a guide. So already I have a bra cup inside it. So I'll be using the bra cup inside to serve as a guide. So what you need is the bra cup that will fit the person you're making this dress for very well. Now, tilt your bra cup this way. Let the beginning of the already made bra cup to be at that your chest line, and then tilt it in form. Then move the other side upwards this way. That way it will create a sweetheart neckline. So what you now do is you're now going to follow the shape of the already made bra cup that you have, and you're going to mark this out. With this way, you will easily draft out your corset cup area. Because if you look at this dress, there's no dart at the center of the cup. So what you need is your already made bra cup, which is exactly the size of that person you're making this for. So what I'll now do is to follow the sweetheart neckline, because I tilted my cup this way. So I'll just follow that shape. So this is what I have after I'm done cutting out. So I'll just go ahead to blend this out this way. So I'll go ahead to outline this. So when you're making this dress, all you have to do is to wrap up your bra cup you're making the dress with. Mark the sleeve area of this corset. Measure from where your front armhole starts from to where your back armhole ends. After measuring mine, I have 8 inches. So I marked 8 inches starting from my armhole. Starting from my armhole curve here. So that is where I started adding the extra 8 inches extension. From this part now, I'll go ahead to extend it to that my 8 inches. So go ahead to measure yours. Yours might not be 8 inches, but most times for a slim person is 8 inches. For someone that has body, you can use 8.5 to 9 inches. Now what I'll do is I'll start connecting this back to the dress. I'll just go ahead to reconnect. So after cutting, after marking, I wasn't okay with what I had there, so I'll just go ahead to blend it out, right? So I went in a bit by ½ inch. For my under bust, I came up a little, so you can come up by 1.5 to 2 inches. This is to give that space to connect from the back all the way to the back pattern of this dress. So while connecting the sleeve of my own, I made it bolder. I used like 2 inches. So if you don't want it this big, you can use 1.5 inches, just something that will look smaller like we have on the actual dress. So for the back, we are going to also add another extension to it, but that will be having an elastic. So we'll come to that part much later. So let's work on the lower part of this dress. So now to work on this part, I'm going to come in by 4 inches. So this is not a standard. So you can go ahead to measure what you want to come in with at the hip part. So from the waistline, you come in by your waistline, or you're going to come down by 1 inch to connect. Then connect to that 4 inches you came in by the hip point. So just like I said, that 4 inches is not a standard. Go ahead to measure on at the front part of your pattern how wide you want that center to be, right? So I'll just go ahead to outline my pattern, and this is what I have. So for the side, we'll still do a slash and spread. So what I'll do is to measure what I have here, and I'll divide it into 4 equal parts. What I have is roughly 6 inches, so I just had to mark 1.5, 1.5, and I shared it into 4 parts. So now this part that I'm marking out now, you'll be using it as a slash and spread for your dress. So I'll go ahead to number it so that when we are placing, I won't be confused. Now we are going to add an extension to the back, and this extension you're going to add, you will need to measure your across back measurement. That is from one ending part of the armhole to the other side of your back. So whatever you have there, after measuring, you're going to times it by 2. Now what you now do is to add an elastic to it. Now that elastic will now drag it to the original size. Now the elastic you're adding to it should not be too much. It should be actually a bit shorter than the measurement you have there, so that it will help drag the back pattern and make the back pattern firm. This way it can easily fit the person you're making the dress for without having to readjust the back. So I'll just go ahead and cut out this my pattern, then I'll cut out the back pattern of this dress. But I'll be using this front pattern to cut out the back. All I'll do is just to fold the upper part, and the side of this pattern is the same. So what I'll do is to use one pattern to cut the sides, and I'll cut out 4 pieces for that. So for the cup area, when you cut it, you'll be wrapping the already made bra cup you're going to use. So there are several tutorials on how to cover your already made cup on YouTube. So now to draft out the back pattern, what I'll do is to go ahead to blend here in this way. That is, from that line I went up at this side, I'm going to fold it to align to the other side, and what I'll do is to go ahead to fold in and trace out. Before tracing out, make sure you mark out a zipper allowance in front. Your zipper allowance can be 1.5 inches to 2 inches. And I'll go ahead to trace the remaining part of this pattern, and I'll also be cutting it out. So for the back pattern, you don't really need to draft much, because this pattern is actually a backless pattern. So I'm just going to mark my hip line and also my waistline for this pattern. So to mark your zipper board, you come in by ½ inch on your waistline. So I mistakenly marked that on my hip. So I actually realized this when I was done drafting. All you have to do is mark ½ inch at your waistline, just like I marked on the hip point. Take it all the way up and slant it down, then go ahead to cut out. After cutting out, we are now going to go ahead to draft the side that has the slash and spread. So I'll just go ahead and cut it open. So if you notice on this dress, on the side part of this dress, there's a joining. That means we are going to cut out 4 pieces for this side pattern, and we are going to join it 2 for each side. Now I'm going to place another pattern paper and I will start doing the slash and spread. So first I'll take the first pattern and place and measure 3.5 inches. Now this 3.5 inches is not a standard. I'm just using this for this pattern. So the more spreading or the more opening your pattern has, the more fuller your dress, right? So I'm just using 3.5 inches. You can use 4 inches, you can use 5 inches. The more you open it, the more you have more gathers by the side of your dress. So I placed the first one, the second one, the third one, and then after the third one, I'll still mark and place the fourth one. So after marking this, what I'll do is to go ahead to trace out the shape I have round this pattern. So I'll trace this from the from the lower part to this upper part and to the side. And after tracing out at this side, I'm going to go ahead to take it all the way to the other side of this pattern. Now, just like I said, you'll be cutting out 2 pieces for each side. That is for the front hip and the side hip. After this, I'll just go ahead to cut my pattern out. So after cutting this, you'll be attaching this back to your pattern at the front, and you also gather and attach to your pattern at the back. You're going to gather it to the side of your pattern. Now also repeat the same thing for the front, for the back pattern of your dress. Gather it and join, and then join up your dress as one piece. So just like I said, you'll be using one pattern to cut out the other side, and for each side of your dress you need 2 pieces for the front and the back hip. So for example, this is for one side, which is the front. To cut out for the back, all you have to do is just to go ahead to trace out. So let's say this is my material and I'm cutting out the back pattern. So this is for the front and this is towards the hip. This is also the hip, and this is the side going towards the middle of the pattern. So you're just going to join your pattern, stitch it up by the side.